Welcome back to this new video about Yubikey, and in this video I will do a little deep dive into SSH option you can use while using your Yubikey. In the previous video linked below, you can see the basic of using SSH protocol with Yubikey. In this video I'm gonna give you a couple of more options you can use when you use SSH in your Yubikey. So let's go. Here you can view the standard SSH keygen command to generate a new key. It's ed25519-sk to store my key. And you see I'm using another option that is verify required. So let's see what this option does. I'm pressing enter, and this is the standard warning about a program won't access your security key, blah, blah, blah. I'm tapping my security key. As I told you before in the previous video, I don't need a real password for my private key file because the file is not really the key. It does not contain really the key, but only the information to grab the key from my Yubikey. So I can press this and okay, it seems like the old example. So everything seems equal. As you can see, this is the previous key and this is the key I've generated now. And as you can see, they are really similar because as I told you before, this is not the real private key. This is just a placeholder that allows SSH protocol to understand in which key and how to retrieve the private key. So basically the key is simple. Now I'm going to copy as an authorized key in my remote server to see the difference. Now I can SSH into my previous system, and I'm using the previous key, okay, actually. And after I'm logged in the machine with my old key, I can echo the new key and append. So you see, this is the syntax for appending into the SSH authorized key. Now, I've done this and I included in the video just to show you how you can add a new key into a server where you have an existing key. This is the standard way. You enter with the old key. Maybe you have an old system where you have used your non-Yubikey SSH key, maybe an older NSK key. You can enter and adding this new public key. So there's no limit in how many public key you can enter into your system. As you can verify in your authorized key, now you have a couple of keys. And this is absolutely common because when you use your Yubikey, usually you have at least a couple of Yubikey just for backup. So it's standard to generate an SSH key protected file for the first key and another one for the second key. And so you have two distinct public key code, each one for each one of your key. So it is important that you copy both of them in your remote machine. So if in the event if you lost one key, you can use the other key for logging in. So it is normal to have this situation, more keys into your authorized key file on the remote server. Now I'm gonna change the config file to tell my SSH that when I want to access this server, I want to use my new key. And as you can see, the name, it's like a spoiler of what will happen. I use the demo key pin name and let's see what is changed. I'm using the standard SSH command to connect to my system. And here you go. Now it asks me the pin for my FIDO2 part. So I need to enter the pin. And then after I enter the pin, I touch the key and I'm in again. So that's the major change when you use the verify option. So here is the recap. When you create the key using the -O verify required, you're actually asking the key to contain a command that make your SSH client require the pin for your Yubikey. So this adds an extra layer of protection because if an attacker can steal one of your key, and if the attacker was also able to find your private key file that point to that key, it can access the system. But if you use this option, the attacker need also to verify the pin. And as usual, if you enter the pin, the incorrect pin more than 8 times, the key gets blocked. So it is a real extra layer of security. Now, I'm I strongly suggest you to use the PIN, because the PIN is it's adding an extra layer of security, and it's very important. So you don't need to choose an extra complicated password as PIN. It can be a simple sequence of number and characters. You can also use only number, because the hardware protection that makes the attacker have only 8 tentatives for guessing the PIN make even using a 8-digit PIN really strong, because unless you are using your birthday, that is probably one of the tentative of an attacker, using a 8 or 10-digit PIN, it is really easy to dig it and almost impossible to guess in 8 tentatives. I must also tell you that there's an option, no touch required, that allows you to disable the need for touching the key. But guess what? I'm not going to use this, because touching the key is a really, really simple gesture to just touch your key, and adds an extra layer of security, a strong layer of security, because require a human to physically interact with the key. So no script can trick your system into getting the private key unless they trick you into physically touching the key. So there's absolutely no need for removing the touch. I strongly discourage you from doing so, but it's an option. I need to tell you this. And that concludes my video. Thanks for watching, and I'm waiting you for the next video on this Yubikey series.